Welcome to our channel. Before we dive into today's true crime story, we'd like to share a brief disclaimer. This video is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. The content may include graphic details and sensitive topics that some viewers may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. The information presented is based on publicly available sources and is not meant to harm or defame anyone involved. Now, if you enjoy gripping stories like this and want to join our growing community of true crime enthusiasts, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Your support helps us continue bringing you these fascinating stories. All right, let's get into today's case. The assassination of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson sent shockwaves through the nation. The murder wasn't just a headline, it became a cultural touchpoint, a morbid reminder of how desperation can culminate in violence. At the center of it all stood Luigi Mangione, a man whose name was unknown to the world just days before the crime, but who would soon be infamous. While the authorities have their version of the events, this is how I imagine it might have unfolded. To understand why Mangione may have done it, we have to understand his world. Luigi Mangione wasn't born a criminal. By all accounts, his early life was unremarkable. Raised in a working-class neighborhood in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, he excelled in school and later graduated with honors in mechanical engineering from a top-tier university. He was the kind of person who seemed destined for a stable, successful life. But life has a way of derailing even the most promising paths. In his mid-20s, Mangione was diagnosed with a degenerative spinal condition that left him in chronic, debilitating pain. His once bright future dimmed under the weight of medical bills and a healthcare system that, in his view, prioritized profits over people. Denied insurance claims, long waiting periods for treatment, and escalating drug prices eroded his trust in the system. Over time, this frustration turned into something darker, anger directed at those he believed were responsible. For Mangione, the face of his suffering became Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare. What transformed Mangione from a frustrated citizen into a calculated killer was his growing obsession. It didn't happen overnight. These things rarely do. It likely started with late-night internet searches. Mangione could have spent hours reading about UnitedHealthcare, its profit margins, executive bonuses, and the controversies surrounding its practices. He probably watched interviews with Thompson, scrutinizing every word, every expression, searching for justification for his anger. At some point, the obsession became personal. Mangione wasn't just angry at a system, he was angry at a man. An engineer by training, Mangione's mind was built for problem solving. Unfortunately, he applied those skills to a deadly purpose. Planning a high-profile assassination isn't something done on impulse. It requires research, patience, and an unnerving level of detachment. Mangione probably started with the basics. 1. Tracking Thompson's schedule. Public figures like Thompson often have predictable routines. Corporate conferences, keynote speeches, and charity galas would all be listed in press releases or promoted on social media. Mangione would have combed through these sources, piecing together a pattern. 2. Scouting locations. Once he identified a potential event, Mangione would have visited the location in advance. He would note entrances and exits, security measures, and potential escape routes. 3. Acquiring the weapon. New York City, where the crime occurred, has strict gun laws, but the black market thrives in the shadows. Mangione likely obtained an unregistered firearm to ensure it couldn't be traced back to him. 4. Perfecting the plan. Mangione rehearsed the sequence of events in his mind, considering every variable. What time would Thompson arrive? Where would he stand? How could he blend into the crowd? December 4th, 2024. Dawned like any other day in Manhattan. For Brian Thompson, it was business as usual. For Luigi Mangione, it was the culmination of months, perhaps years of planning. Mangione arrived early at the corporate venue where Thompson was scheduled to speak. Dressed in business casual attire, he blended seamlessly with the crowd of employees and executives. His demeanor was calm, unassuming, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Thompson's speech ended around noon, and attendees began to spill out of the building. Among them was Mangione, lurking in the shadows, waiting for his moment. When Thompson stepped outside, Mangione moved quickly. 3 gunshots echoed through the streets, sending bystanders into a frenzy. Thompson collapsed and chaos erupted. In the minutes following the shooting, New York City descended into chaos. Police cordoned off the area, helicopters circled overhead, and news outlets scrambled to report on the unfolding tragedy. But Mangione was already gone. This is where his meticulous planning paid off. He likely had his escape route mapped out, taking advantage of Manhattan's labyrinthine streets and public transit system. Within hours, he was out of the city, heading west toward Pennsylvania. For 2 days, Mangione remained at large. The authorities pieced together his movements using surveillance footage, witness testimonies, and forensic evidence. Meanwhile, the nation held its breath, captivated by the manhunt. Mangione's engineering background gave him a distinct advantage. He knew how to evade detection, switching vehicles, avoiding toll roads, and staying off the grid. But even the most careful criminals make mistakes. On December 6th, an employee at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, recognized Mangione from a news report and called the police. When officers arrived, Mangione didn't resist. He surrendered quietly, almost as if he knew the chase was over. When police searched Mangione's belongings, they found more than just the firearm. Duct tape, zip ties, and a knife were among the items recovered. Tools that suggested he may have planned something even more sinister. Was his intention solely to kill Thompson, or did he plan to abduct and interrogate him first? These questions remain unanswered, as Mangione has refused to cooperate with investigators. Mangione's trial is set to begin early next year. Legal experts predict a high-profile case, with debates centering on his mental state and the systemic failures that may have contributed to his actions. His defense team is expected to argue diminished capacity, citing his chronic pain and deteriorating mental health. Prosecutors, however, will portray him as a cold, calculated killer who meticulously planned his crime. Luigi Mangione's actions shocked the nation, not just because of their audacity, but because of what they represent. At its core, this is a story about desperation and the lengths people will go to when they feel unheard. Mangione's crime was heinous, but it forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the healthcare system, mental health, and the human capacity for violence. For Brian Thompson's family, the pain is unimaginable. A father, husband, and leader was taken from them in an instant. But for the rest of us, this case serves as a grim reminder of how systemic failures can have devastating consequences. The story of Luigi Mangione and Brian Thompson isn't over. The trial will bring new revelations, and the nation will watch as the legal system determines Mangione's fate. But no verdict will change the fact that 2 lives were irrevocably altered on that December day. One lost, the other forever marked by the weight of his actions. Until then, we're left to grapple with the chilling reality of what happened and the uncomfortable questions it raises about our society. Hey there, if you're enjoying these gripping stories that keep you on the edge of your seat, why not stick around for more? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a twist. We're just getting started, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's next.